guys, welcome back to the channel. We've been focusing a lot on how to construct the perfect creative, and I want to focus now on how to run those creatives, how to structure your account with creatives so that you can get the most power out of your ads. We will continue talking about creative. It will be a theme that you will definitely hear more and more and more of, because after iOS, as audiences become less and less potent, creatives have to become more and more potent. So I'm going to share 6 ways now that you can make your ad more potent by the way that you actually run them in your ad account. Number 1 is that we see that a lot of advertisers see each creative as a unit rather than all of the creatives as a system. And it's very important to notice this because you'll have videos that might not have that high of a conversion rate, that might not have very high trackable ROAS, but they're getting all of the reach and they're introducing the product or the brand and they're informing, they're educating. And then you'll have statics or GIFs or maybe some shorter videos or maybe long videos too that are really bringing home the sale. But it's really important whenever you're looking at that content to understand that creatives work in a system. They are not in a silo. So advertisers will also come to us and say, what creative type is working best? What is, out of all of the creatives in our account, which one is working best? And yes, sometimes you can really find some that are working better than others, and usually that's messaging, but oftentimes they work in a system. So watch out for that. Number 2 is that sometimes we find that even within a particular layer of traffic, so let's talk about prospecting, for example, we see that advertisers are testing different creatives in different audiences. And that doesn't really make a lot of sense because if there's a couple of creatives that work really well in one audience, do you really know that it's the audience that's working better, or is it the creatives that are working better? If you tested those top performing creatives in other audiences, would they also perform well, or would they perform even better? If you tested different creatives in that particular audience, is it just that anything in that audience works well? Until you cross test, you're not going to know. So it's really important within a particular layer of traffic. Granted, you don't want to run the same creatives in your cold campaigns as you do in your warm campaigns. You don't want to run the same creatives across the entire account. That's a definite no, because you want variety. But if you're trying to get learnings and you're trying to test certain creatives and understand what's working well in my audiences, you've got to test the same creatives in each audience so you know the difference between learnings for the audience and learnings for the creative. Number 3, we see that advertisers test too many creatives in each ad set. If you're testing more than 4 creatives, and really 4 is usually too much to get the learnings that you want for smaller budgets, but if you're testing more than 4 creatives in an ad set, unless you just are running $1 bajillion in each one of your ad sets, it is not efficient. If you're splitting your spend across that many creatives, first of all, the algorithm is just going to pick 2 or 3 anyways. So it's just going to pick the first 2 or 3 that look good, and it's going to leave the rest out. And second of all, even if it is kind of testing some, you won't know which ones are just being left out and which ones were actually tested. So make sure to concentrate the spend. If you want to test 10 different creatives, excellent, do it. But every 2 to 3 days, cycle out the bottom 2 performers and put 2 more in there and make sure you're getting enough spend to each one to actually understand what's going on. Number 4 is the complete opposite, is running too few creatives. And sometimes we see this where an advertiser has chiseled down to what's the top performing creative, but is only giving Facebook one option. And we see that Facebook's algorithm likes options. It loves options. So even if it's going to spend all of the money on this one top ad, and you have a second ad in there that has $2 to $3 of spend, basically nothing, go ahead and leave it in, because we see that there's something that the algorithm likes whenever it has options. If it doesn't have options, it feels restricted and it feels like it's being forced to spend somewhere that maybe it doesn't want to. So we believe in at least the game of 2, the number of 2, have 2 audiences if possible, 2 creatives, just to give the algorithm a little bit of elbow room. Number 5 is my personal pet peeve, and that is expecting your potential customers to do work to figure out what your product is or to figure out what the value is. Don't do this. Some people will watch videos, some people will glance at the text, some people will glance at the headline. Make sure that within the first 1.5 to 2 seconds, which is all you're going to get upon first glance before they decide to scroll or to swipe, make sure that it's obvious. what problem does this solve, or what is this, or why should they care? Make sure it's in their face. And one exercise I really like to do myself is, and I've trained myself to be able to kind of close my eyes, open them, see a split second view of what the whole picture is, and then close them again and think, what was the message that I got across here? Because that's what your potential customers are doing with your ads. Number 6 is test different links. So most e-com brands at least have a homepage and a product page, but sometimes there's even other pages, whether it be landing pages that were developed or just very informative pages about, kind of like a more about this. We have a fitness client, for example, that has a page that really goes into what their program is all about. And different pages convert different ways. So we actually have a dashboard set up where we can see at any given time all of the links running and which ones are performing better than others. And it's pretty shocking. Some links that you wouldn't even think, convert drastically better, double or triple other links. There was just recently a page that we had a product that was defaulting to the larger size. And what we found is that if we defaulted to the smaller size setting, the conversion rate doubled. So there's things like that happen, and it's really important to test those links out. So those are the 6 things that you can check right now with your ads. Please let me know how it goes. And if you have any tricks that you use to kind of check out just these simple things to make your ads more powerful, I would love to hear about it. I would love to implement some of those things myself.